Hey everyone, welcome back to Pokémon Insurgence. I hope everybody is staying happy, healthy, and safe. On the last part, we finally made it here to Selene City, and we took on Persephone of the Darkrai cult up here, and we also took her sister on, who just so happens to lead the gym here. So we actually have 6 gym badges now. There was actually something that I forgot to show off here though. So I might have mentioned this trainer over here. So if you have a Marowak in your party, which I do, you might remember this guy, but this was the Cubone that we caught early on in the game. It kind of helped us farm some cash and whatnot. But if you have a Marowak in your party, and you talk to this guy here, I won a Mega Ring in the lottery today. I'm feeling pretty good about myself. It's nice to be one of the few people in the region to own something. I even have a Marowite, too. That way I can use it to its maximum potential. What's this? You also have a Marowak. And you think you'd be a better fit for this stone. Fine. We'll have a battle then. The winner gets to keep the Mega Stone. Sound fair? Sure. It's his loss. So he actually has a Mega Marowak, as you're about to see. It's a bit overleveled compared to us, but that doesn't matter because we have 6 Pokemon and he has 1. So you might notice something about this, but 1, it has Parental Bond, and 2, it becomes a Ghost Ground type. So Insurgence was ahead of Game Freak on the curve. Yet again. Can't believe I lost to you. But I did make a deal. Here's the Marowite. I actually have a couple of them, but it's not a huge loss. So I'm actually not going to be showing this off for a while, mainly because at this point in the game, Mega Marowak, it's not that great. And if you want an explanation, let me put it this way. Marowak does not learn Earthquake by level up. It learns it by TM. And the TM for Earthquake is all the way up in Victory Road. That's a long ways from here. To add to that, I mentioned that its ability, when it Mega Evolves, is Parental Bond. So, if we take a look at my, not my bag, but if we take a look at my Marowak right here, you'll notice that probably one of the best moves you could have on it for now would be Boomerang, because it hits twice and it's base 50 power. So that's basically an Earthquake right there. But Parental Bond doesn't actually work with multi-hit moves. So its primary stab is kind of weak. Although it does now get, I think it gets Shadow Sneak, and I think it gets Phantom Force. So it's not awful, it's just not amazing right now. What we are going to be using is Spiritomb. So let me just put this in the PC here. So if you want, you can actually find the second encounters in Friendsafaris if you want right now. And those Friendsafaris have Pokemon that have their hidden ability. Spiritomb is one of them. So Spiritomb has Noctum. This basically sets up the New Moon field. It's the same ability that Mega Delta Charizard has. Kinda makes it feel bad. So I'm just going to heal my Pokemon up really quickly. But that's not all. So I've been doing this pretty slowly ever since I started this playthrough. Basically, I would set time aside occasionally, and I would steal a few flags. That way, it would eventually build up, and eventually I would reach the 100 flag goal. And so when we've stolen 100 flags, we can talk to this guy, and he should have some stuff for us. Yeah, I don't really need those, but at 100 flags, he should give us Spiritomb. So Spiritomb, or should I say Mega Spiritomb, is amazing. Let me just find that Mega Stone and put that on him. So one, its hidden ability is Noctum. It sets up the New Moon field, which that is amazing as well. But two, New Moon boosts its Phantom Force, which turns this into a one-turn attack. It boosts all of its Ghost-type attacks. It boosts its Dark-type attacks. That's absolutely amazing. Plus, these two are priority. And if you want to go beyond that, Mega Spiritomb's ability is actually Tough Claws. So that means all of these are contact moves. So they all get the boost. It's amazing. Mega Spiritomb, I think it also has like 140 base attack or something like that. I don't know. It's actually really amazing, and it's a pretty easy Pokemon to use. And it's also hard to make mistakes with it because Mega Spiritomb is actually really, really bulky. Anyways, there's one other thing that I actually have to do here. So you might have noticed that I had the Litwick right here. So I kind of trained this up. And I didn't want to evolve it until I started recording. So we are going to evolve that now. Thankfully, I just have a ton of rare candies, so whenever I need to, I can just use them to evolve on screen. That's weird, it didn't give us the jingle. Either way, we now have a Lampent, or a Delta Lampent, rather. This thing is actually really amazing looking. I really, really like it. However, it's not going to stay a Lampent for long. If I move over here, we have a Shiny Stone, which is what we need to evolve Delta Lampent. So now we have a Delta Chandelure. So I already went ahead and I actually gave this the Choice Scarf. Choice Scarf Chandelure is actually one of my favorite Pokemon to use, or one of my favorite ways to use it. Mainly because you have this Pokemon that has an insane special attack. Chandelure's special attack stat is like base 140 or something like that. It's really, really good for a non-mega Pokemon. And with the Choice Scarf, you can make it a little bit faster. I think it's like base 80 speed, but with the Choice Scarf, it's quite a bit faster. And that just helps out so much. So hopefully these two new Pokemon are going to carry us through the next encounters that we're going to have to deal with. Mainly in the story. Because if you don't remember, we are actually going to be leaving Saline City and heading to the right, although I do want to mention one other thing. So if you come to the Pika Taxi guy, and if you talk to him, if I can get through his dialogue, you'll see that he has a quest for you. I just kind of want to point that out. We're not going to be dealing with it right now, because we can't actually finish the whole quest. But I will remind you when we can. But for now, we are actually going to be heading here. So this is technically Route 13, and there's literally nothing here on this route. So we don't actually have to do anything. I'm going to spray some Max Repel right here, and we're going to head on in to the Dragon Ruins. So you might notice there's actually a sign over here that says the Dragon Ruins are closed. And the sign has been conveniently moved over to the place that, well, we would actually pass through and continue on our journey through. And of course, we also saw Taen come in here, so, you know, we have to confront him. So starting off here in the Dragon Ruins, there's a Draco Jet TM over here. That's actually a Dragon-type quick attack. And if I recall, it's like base 40 power. It's actually really, really weak. I think it's down here, or maybe it's not. I'm not sure. All right, it's actually here. Okay, that's fine. But let me just check that out. So I'm not going to teach it, but I do want to see. Yeah, it's base 40 power. So it's not really that amazing, because most dragons have other priority moves. I mean, things like Dragonite have extreme speed, things like that. Most of them are very fast, and most of them have other ways of boosting their speed. I mean, Haxorus could use like agility. Some of them could actually use... Actually, I think that might just be Delta Haxorus, but I think a lot of them have Dragon Dance anyways, so it really just kind of depends. It might not be something that you want to actually waste a move slot on. It just really depends. Anyways, the route or the pathway to the top of the ruins is a little bit confusing, but we're gonna make it through here. We have to surf up here and kind of run around over here. I think I did skip some items actually. Yeah, I did. And there's also another TM here, right here, Focus Blast, which is actually really good. Even though it's probably likely to miss when you need it to hit, unfortunately. There's a reason people call it Focus Miss. But up over here is actually going to be where we need to go. However, if you come over here, you'll actually find 3 full restores. I'm not sure what's up with this area and giving you multiple items, but that's nice. So right here, I'm going to want to back my team out. Kind of want to make sure that everything is set up as I need it to be. And I think I actually do want to lead with Spiritomb. So I'm going to save, and we're going to move on up. I see. I'm so glad you decided to show up. This is the moment of my triumph. Every time I failed, you were there to witness it. After we tried to create the perfect Delta Pokemon. After we experimented with Mega Evolution and the incident, Pokerus and Mauled. And now that our experiment with armor failed too, you might think we're running out of ideas. Tell me, Icinora, do you know the myth of the Unovan dragon? Legend speaks of a gargantuan dragon that once reigned over all of Unova. Its power was supervised by 2 brothers, princes of the dragons. However, these brothers constantly fought over their beliefs. One sought truth, one strove for ideals, and finding no middle ground, they split the great dragon into 3. Reshiram, truth, and Zekrom, ideals, emerged, where Kyurem was left as the dragon's empty husk. This ruin is very ancient. While the dragon did rule in Unova, war between the brothers was in Tauren. In fact, the Great Splitting was at this very spot. A shrine was built here, in the hopes that one day the dragon might be formed once again and bring peace to the land. That day is today. While Rukra has been busy experimenting, the most important job in the Perfection Cult was left to me. It was difficult. I needed 3 different legendary Pokemon. I succeeded. Now, the original dragon was said to be a sign of leadership, of wholeness. It represented opposing beliefs finding neutral ground and working together. The idea of harmony, of perfection. Once we summon this creature, we'll be unstoppable. The only thing left is to begin. Reshiram, Zekrom, Kyurem. It's time to return to your origins. Join together and become whole once more. And now, Great Dragon of Unova, the divine perfect god. Emerge, the great Namher. What did you say? Maybe you didn't hear me, dragon. I said emerge. Great Namhair. Are you reading that off a scroll? Yeah, why? I'm pretty sure you're reading that wrong. I think you're supposed to say the dragon's name at that part. Not just name here. It's probably a placeholder. Oh. Huh. That's what the parentheses are for. But, hold on. That's impossible. Nobody knows the name of the original dragon. The only names that survived were Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kuram. How are we supposed to bring it back, then? Fine. I was hoping to resurrect the original dragon today. It seems like that's not happening. I'll find that name. I'll search every scroll, text, or book until I learn it. But for now, I split you into Kuram White and Zekrom. Come forth and serve me. I'll deal with the two of you here and now. This is the end. So this is actually going to be our next Tane battle. It's kind of weird, but it's actually still pretty alright. So Tane here starts off with the Metagross. It has Clear Body, it has no held item, has Bullet Punch, Hammer Arm, Pursuit, and Meteor Mash. Meanwhile, the Salamence has the Intimidate, as you saw, no held item, Outrage, Earthquake, Aqua Tail, and Iron Tail. So a bit of a weird set. I'm just going to send out Charizard, mainly because Spiritomb is a physical attacker and I just want to get rid of the Intimidate. So thankfully they did that and I can just send in Spiritomb again. We can Mega Evolve right here. Not sure what's more important to get rid of, honestly. Because an Outrage from Salamence is actually going to hurt a lot. I think I might go for a Sucker Punch on the Metagross here. Hopefully it doesn't Bullet Punch, because that would be really annoying. There we go. Gone. So the annoying thing about Sucker Punch is that if something else has priority, and they use that priority to attack you first, then that basically cancels your Sucker Punch. So next up is going to be Kuram. This is going to be the Kuram White, as Turbo Blaze for an ability, of course, which is basically a glorified Mole Breaker. Has no item, has Draco Meteor, Ice Beam, Focus Blast, and Fusion Flare. So this thing is a threat. It's going to seriously hurt something. And it needs to go. So thankfully we can 2-hit KO this. And it's actually going to take out the Levani. And Salamence is going to hit itself in confusion. So that's alright. So Nora sends out her Mega right here. I'm just going to go ahead and Sucker Punch the Kuram again, and that should knock it out. Q's Kuram is no slouch. And Spiritomb right there just 2-hit KO'd it without any investment. So that's pretty good. So next up is going to be the Typhlosion. Flash Fire for an ability, but that doesn't matter because it has the Typhlosionite. So it's going to Mega Evolve. It should have Hubris for an ability. It has Fire Blast, Extra Sensory, Focus Blast, and Hidden Power Rock. Zekrom here has the armor. Has Terravolt, which, like Turbo Blaze, glorified Mole Breaker basically. Has Fusion Bolt, Draco Meteor, Outrage, and Volt Switch. So both of these Pokemon are threats, honestly. I don't know. I think I'm going to go for a full Phantom Force. Actually, I won't. I'm probably going to focus more so on the Typhlosion. actually no. I'll focus on Zekrom. Which might be a really bad idea. I feel like I could take out the... Okay, Zekrom's gone. I was about to say that I feel like Typhlosion is probably a little bit more frailer. But that didn't really matter. So I think at this point I'll go for the Typhlosion. He just sent out his Luxray right there. So the Luxray has Guts, it has the Toxic Orb for an item. Has Wild Charge, Superpower, Facade, and Crunch. Also, you saw there the Typhlosion got a special attack boost because it knocked out my Spiritomb. I'm gonna send in Chandelure, see if I can do something with this. Actually, I really can't, but that's fine. Okay, I'm feeding the Typhlosion. That's not good. It's fine though. Nora's Mega Flygon will actually carry you through most of the battle if you let it. So we really didn't have to worry. What? Impossible. Don't you know who I am? Reshiram, Zekrom, what's happening? The ritual wasn't done yet. Get back together. No, Zekrom, get back here. Reshiram. I'm so glad you're okay. You're not hurt, are you? You're all fools. This isn't the end of this. I'll bide my time. You better hold on tight to your friend, child, because once I find that name, I'm going to wish that Reshiram was only stolen from you. Purim, let's go. We're leaving. That was scary. I'm glad nobody knows, but I can't help wondering. What was the name of that dragon? Well, I have a theory. It's probably wrong, but Purim is the shell of the original dragon, right? It's what was left after Reshiram and Zekrom split from it. There's the fact that the fusions are called Kyurem White and Kyurem Black. Well, I don't know if you remember this, but back at the Utira library, I was looking at a book on Denovan word structures. There was a page that talked about the legendary trio. Reshi was a prefix that meant truth. Zek was a prefix that meant ideals. Nobody really agrees on what Q means, but most translations believe it's whole or complete. I never really questioned how little sense that made. Kyurem is the opposite of complete, after all. Tane said that the original dragon was a perfect symbol of different beliefs working together. Maybe a more accurate translation of Q would be perfect. Wow, I never thought of that. Yeah, it's just a theory though. I see. The Infernal Cold said they were in the mountains, right? We have to go after them. We strike them before they strike us. Maybe we can have a chance. Oh, I nearly forgot. Your Mew can transform into anything it has the DNA of, right? That's how you used Shaman's ability to go around, even though you didn't actually have it. Why don't you take this? It's a hair from Celebi's head. So with this, we can now use the Tesseract ability. To use Tesseract, you need to find glowing areas where space-time is torn. If it's white, you can travel back in time, but if it's red, you can move other objects through time. You're smart. I'm sure you'll figure it out. It's a lot less complicated than it sounds. Just make sure you're close to the rip. Best of luck. Hey, I see. Listen, I owe you one. For helping me out, and Reshiram too. If you need anything, like to train or something, just let me know, okay? I'd be glad to give you a hand. So, as much as I would like to just kind of cut to the point where I've already left the ruins, we actually have a few more things that we can do down here. I actually just realized that I did forget to grab something, but there's also this right up here. So if you remember, this is actually bread, so that means we're bringing an item back from the past. Except it's not an item, it's a Pokemon. So this is actually Delta Bergmite. So Delta Bergmite, obviously it has the same stats as a Bergmite or Avalugg when it evolves. But it is a Dragon Rock type Pokemon, which is pretty cool. It's a Delta species discovered by Zero Breaker. Nearly impervious to physical attacks, its rate of regeneration exceeds the damage that it does receive. So Bergmite on its own is actually a Monorock Pokemon, but when it evolves into Avalugg, it'll actually be a Rock and Dragon. So that's pretty cool. It's actually a pretty decent Pokemon. It gets a more defensive typing, since obviously Ice isn't really a defensive typing, but Dragon Rock is a little bit better. It has moves like Slack Off, which is kind of weird. Also, there is a TM up here. It's called Wildfire, and basically, you could potentially burn your opponent's entire team using this move if you used it on like a grass type. The only other unique thing it has above Will-O-Wisp is that it'll actually burn both Pokemon in a double battle, so that's kind of decent. Anyways, once we finish with all this, we can actually head out over here, and we'll have a cutscene. This place is bizarre. Such an odd place to have built anything at all. I can't believe people can actually live out here. Why is there a temple here, of all places? Ah, our guest of honor has finally arrived. What is this? Show yourself. Who on earth are you? What do you want? You're the one behind all of this, aren't you? Me? Behind everything? What could you possibly mean? I've been researching. I know where the first augur, Adam's crystal, came from. I looked into Persephone's past, which led me to Zenith, and the Infernal Cult, and what he... and all of it. All of it ties back to... You've certainly done your research. Are you cultist? Trying to catch Giratina? No. We might look the part, but we're anything but. You've been playing us like pawn. You've been playing me like a pawn. Actually, I know you don't want to hear this, but you weren't a part of my plans. You're a minor nuisance at best. A bit part. My intention was for the Infernal Cult to eventually overthrow the first augur and secure the crystal for me. But no, you just had to interfere, didn't you? You just had to play the edgy anti-hero, didn't you? You're evil. I'm surviving. Stay away from me. Don't make me break the crystal. Huh. Any more than you already have? But I'll let you go. Your shard is nearly useless to me without the other two. And though I didn't care for you at all, you've slowly become useful. Enjoy your trip home, Yarn. Won't remember any of this. So after that, we can continue on our way to Route 14. However, it's time to backtrack. So we're not actually going to do anything on Route 14 yet, but we are going to backtrack to certain locations and see just what we can dig up with Tesseract. Our first spot is actually going to be here in the Saline Gym. So we're just going to backtrack here all the way back this room here. And we're going to use Tesseract. So our first item is going to be the Gothite. So that's pretty good. So far so good. Our next spot is actually going to be the Fiery Caverns. Here in Hecate Town, we're going to enter the Fiery Caverns and we're actually going to be heading all the way to the bottom floor. So first down here, and next up we'll be heading all the way up over here. So this is actually going to be a different Tesseract spot than the one we've encountered so far. So we encountered the one that brought an item or a Pokemon into our time. This time, however, we're going to use Tesseract and we're going to actually enter the past. So you'll notice that the layout has changed here, and we just have to navigate around a little bit. Eventually we'll find these stairs and we'll find something very, very interesting. So I don't think you'd be able to tell what this is by looking at it, but if you grab these items, you'll notice that we're grabbing the Delta Glalie-ite and the Delta Frostlassite. So I'm just going to go ahead and save. This is actually Delta Snorunt. So that's actually really amazing. Delta Snorunt is actually a mono fire type Pokemon. Delta Glalie, on the other hand, is actually a fire and rock type. Delta Frostlass, which I believe it still evolves the same way. 1 being female, and 2 it has to have a Dawnstone. Is actually also a mono fire type Pokemon. And Delta Frostlass becomes a fire ghost type with its Mega Evolution. I forgot we actually have to find the spot and leave. That's really, really annoying. But either way, our time here is actually kind of done. So I think our next spot is going to be in Nazca Town. Here in Nazca Town, there's actually 2 things that we can do here for now. Well, there's actually 3, but I'll talk about that in a bit. So for starters, we're going to actually Tesseract right here, and this will find us the Heracronite. So if you have a Heracross, well, you're good to go. We're also going to be surfing down here, and we're going to go ahead and be heading to the Power Farm, or the Windmill Farm. So if you remember, this was actually where we found, it wasn't Delta Bisharp, but it was its pre-evolution. And if we actually Tesseract right here, we'll found the Delta Bisharpite. So Bisharp actually has a custom evolution in Insurgence, and so does its Mega. So that's going to be something very interesting to see. I also want to mention that there is something in the Savari Zone that we're going to be taking care of a little bit later, but I want to make sure to cover all the other regular items and other Pokemon and things like that first before we get to that. So our next stop is actually going to be in the Kepler Gym. Here at the Kepler Gym, we're going to want to come all the way back here, right to where we actually fought Anastasia. And if we Tesseract right here, we'll get the Metagrossite. So Metagross is actually a super strong Mega Evolution to have at this point in the game. That's pretty cool. Our next stop is actually going to be in Sonata Hills. Back here at Sonata Hills, we actually want to take the back entrance here. So we're going to be heading into the hidden area, go to the place where we found the Delta Litwick. And if we use Tesseract, we'll actually find the Odonite. But we're still not quite done yet. In fact, we might not even be halfway done. So our next stop is actually going to be in a place called Lush Island. So I figured I'd actually meet you at the southern part of Miara Town, mainly because it's been quite a while since we've been here. But we're going to look for this very small, very hard to see dive spot right over here. We're going to dive down here, and we're going to surface right up here. And we're back here at Lush Island. If you remember correctly, this is actually where we found the Delta Dunsparce, which I've yet to use, and it's getting really, really difficult to find times in this game where I can actually use it. But there's also this Tesseract spot. So we can find the Miloite. So that is the Megastone for Milotic, which is actually pretty cool. So with that taken care of, we can now leave. But we're not really done with this area. Unfortunately, we do have to go back to the Whirl Islands. So we're going to be heading back to the Whirl Islands, and we're going to be heading... Actually, I don't think we want to head down this entrance, but basically we want to be heading into the spot where we battled Audrey down here. So I know it's been a while, so I'll actually be guiding you down there. Hopefully I don't need a guide. So I believe we want to go all the way around over here. And down this ladder right here. Alright, so that's correct. So you'll notice that we have a Tesseract spot right over here. And that's going to give us the Delta Galidite. So that's pretty cool. But there's more. No prizes for guessing. If that was the Delta Galidite, then this must be the Delta Gardevoirite. So that's actually really, really nice, especially since we actually have one of those at this point. So our next stop that we're going to backtrack to should be Utira Library. Here at the Utira Library, we actually want to head all the way to the right, and we're going to be heading into the Abandoned Wing. So after we're inside of the Abandoned Wing, we actually want to head into the second room here. So should be right over here. And we'll find the next Tesseract spot. So right here we can actually find the Jingarite. The next spot we actually need to head to is going to be the Helios Sewers. I'm going to be starting from the entrance in the Black Market. I'm going to start off by using Seed Flare right down here. And we're going to be heading all the way over here. We're going to skip this gap right here. And we're going to come down right over here, this spot. And this is the next Tesseract location. So this will give us the Sableye. The next spot is actually pretty close by. It's at the top of the Jade Tower. However, that's a little bit of a walking distance. So I'm going to meet you there. So here at the Jade Tower, if we exit to the top, find another Tesseract spot. And this one will actually give us the Salamencite. I don't know why it has the green orb as an item, even though that's actually pretty cool. Our next spot is actually going to be on Route 6. Here on Route 6, if we go to the entrance to Rogan Town and then go up and to the left, find another Tesseract spot. So this one is actually a little bit more interesting, mainly because it's actually an item. It's going to be the TM for Dragonify. So I think we've mentioned this already, but Dragonify basically changes the target's typing to pure dragon. It's probably not the most useful TM out there. Anyways, our next stop is actually going to be the Samsara Cave. Alright, so if you don't remember, Samsara Cave is here on Route 5, and we're going to be entering over here, and we're going to be heading down to the section where we actually found the Delta Pidgey. If I can actually get there. And I can imagine you probably have a really good idea of what we're going to find. So we will actually find the Delta Pidgeotite. So that's actually a really good item, and it makes it well worth the wait for attempting to use that Delta Pidgey. Or Pidgeot. Anyways, the next spot is going to be the Vidpeck Dump. We're finally getting closer to the end. Here at the Vidpeck City Dump, we can actually come to the back, sort of around the area where the Abyssal Cultist actually captured Damien. And if we use Tesseract, we can find the Beedrillite. So we're down to 2 spots now. One spot is actually going to be on Route 3. If we come over here to the entrance, sort of to the sun-touched exitway, and come down all the way over here following the path, we'll eventually find this Tesseract spot. And this will actually give us the Septilite. So our next and final location is going to be at the Ancient Ruins. If you remember correctly, the Ancient Ruins are actually on Route 2. And obviously there is this spot right here. I'm going to ignore that. And instead I'm going to head into the ruins themselves. And we're going to head into this room right over here. So if we head into this room and we use Tesseract, we will find the Steelixite Fire? This might confuse some people, but Steelix does actually have 2 Mega Evolutions in Insurgence. There is the regular form, and there is this form. So because this is a custom Mega Evolution, the stats are spread out a little bit differently, and of course it does have a fire typing as a Steel Fire Mega. And for the most part, the stats are mostly the same. It's just that Steelix Fire gets stab on fire attacks, of course, but it also has a little bit more attack and a little bit more speed. Honestly, I'm not a fan of it, but I will try to use it at some point. Anyways, that's not all we can do here. There is one other spot in the front that I kind of ignored earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and use Tesseract right here. This isn't actually an item, but it's another Pokemon. So this is actually going to be the Delta Geodude. This is a pretty weird Pokemon. It's a Psychic Rock type, if we're being completely honest. It has Regenerator or Sap Sipper for abilities. So Regenerator gives you more HP by switching out, so that gives you longevity. And Sap Sipper gets rid of one of its weaknesses. It's a Delta species discovered by Echo the Third. They are easily mistaken for parts of ruins and surprise travelers attempting to use them for a bench. I'm not sure how I can mistake that for a bench, but sure, okay. So anyways, I think that's all of the important Tesseract spots for now. And I know there's still one other spot that we have to go visit in the Safari Zone, along with a bunch of other content that is kind of on my to-do list for this walkthrough right now. But we did take care of a lot of the backtracking, and in the next part we're going to be backtracking a little bit more. but hopefully not too much, and hopefully we'll get to move on to a few of the new areas that we can access as well. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope this helped. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.